as moving company owners, sometimes we get into moving season and we tend to just, kind of go on autopilot, if you will. We think, hey, you know what? It's busy. It's going to be busy no matter what. I'm already booked out. If you're already booked out, that's not a good place to be. I know it's better than having an empty schedule, no doubt about it, right? But you don't want to be in a position where you could be getting more money, but you're not. When you're at capacity, you need to start raising prices. So I want to give you, a few tips on how to do that today. Hey, my friend, before I get started, make sure you go to bookmoremoves.com. I just put up a brand new web class that teaches you how to book more high-paying moves all year long. We know that right now it's busy, it's moving season. However, we also want to make sure that you're booking high-paying moves and that you're profitable throughout the year. All right, and that's really what I want to talk about today, which is, your pricing. And, what happens is, as moving company owners, sometimes we get into moving season and we tend to just, kind of go on autopilot, if you will. We think, hey, you know what? It's busy. It's going to be busy no matter what. I'm already booked out. And when I talk to people, last week I was talking to a private coaching client, and they said, yeah, it's great. Everything's going great, but I'm booked out all the way through the end of the month. And that was almost 3 weeks until the end of the month, and you're already booked. I said, you know what? You need to raise your prices. If you're already booked out, that's not a good place to be. I know it's better than having an empty schedule, no doubt about it, right? But you don't want to be in a position where you could be getting more money, but you're not, right? Spoke to another one of my private clients, and they told me that they're getting, what was the number? It was an insane number that they were getting for 3 men, like high 200s an hour, maybe even 300 an hour. I forget the actual number, but way more than double what their normal rate was. And it's because they realized that when you're at capacity, you need to start raising prices, right? It's really the same thing as what the airlines do, and it's not hard to do. So I want to give you, a few tips on how to do that today. By the way, if you're just joining, make sure you go to bookmoremoves.com. I just put up a free web class that teaches you the steps you need to take in order to book more high-paying moves all year long. Go check that out. It's at bookmoremoves.com. It's free. It's my gift to you. Make sure you check that out. But, first thing you want to do is you want to take a look at your schedule, right? You want to see where you're at currently, all right, capacity-wise. And you want to do this really every month. So if you don't already have a pricing structure in place where, let's say you charge more on the weekends or you charge more at the end of the month, you want to, kind of do it, ad hoc, right? Like just, periodically take a look at your schedule and see when it is that you're starting to fill up. I mean, typically, you're going to be busy Fridays. You're going to be busy Saturdays. You're going to be busy the last weekend of the month. Okay, well, start raising the prices, right? We tend to have this fear, and, I had it too early on, of if I raise my price too high, nobody's going to book with me. And it's really mostly in our minds, right? There are some methods and there are some ways where, you definitely can be doing things differently in your sales process to help you book more high-paying moves, which, by the way, again, go to bookmoremoves.com. There's a whole web class there. It's about an hour long. It's free. I'm going to teach you the exact steps on how to book more high-paying moves. But if you think about, the customer, if they're calling around and they're getting prices, and prices kind of across the board are higher because everybody realizes that the demand is high, right? There's, simple supply and demand. There's more people moving than there are moving companies a lot of times in the summer, right? So if you ever think about raising your prices, now's the time to do it. If you wait, right, until after season or you never raise your prices, well, then you're going to be in a position where you're kind of stuck with the gross profit margin that you have in order to take care of all your expenses, make sure you're, taking home enough money and still have the profits left over at the end. Whereas, if you start looking at your moves and saying, hey, we've got to make more money on these jobs, right? And I know it sounds so simple, right? I'm hearing myself talk right now. I'm like, this sounds so simple and so basic. But the reality is that most people are so scared to raise their prices, or they've already raised their prices once before. They're like, yeah, Louis, I did. I heard you talk about that once, and I raised my prices. And I said, okay, well, how's your profitability? How's your gross profit on each job? And your gross profit is your gross income, right? Minus essentially the expenses of actually performing that move. Doesn't include all your, expenses and, your office expenses, things like that. And in order to get that as a higher percentage, there's only two things you could really do. You could either cut down on the cost of things like supplies and fuel, or pay movers less money on the job, right? Which, nowadays isn't really the answer. Typically, movers want more money, and to get high quality movers, you should be paying them more money. So if you have all these additional expenses, but you're not raising your prices, it's just cutting down on your profit, right? So what's the solution? The solution is raise your prices and then sell service and not price. It's, if you make it about price, the customer's going to make it about price. If you make it about service, okay, and the customer then has an objection to your high price, right? Then you just need the rebuttal for that objection, which, by the way, I teach you in the Book More High Paying Moves web class, which you could get right now for free at bookmoremoves.com. Make sure you go check that out, because, a lot of times I'll see movers and they'll say, okay, Louis, I'm going to raise my price, but they don't really change the approach, right? They don't change the way their scripting is. They don't change what their salespeople are trained to say when the customer does say your price is too high. But let me ask you a question. At your current rates, or maybe at one point you even had lower rates than you have now, didn't you also have customers saying your price was too high, right? You're always going to be having people say your price is too high, whether they really feel that way, or whether that's just their negotiation tactic, right? In other words, they just want to kind of make it seem like, people know that salespeople are on edge, and if they can make you feel as if your price is too high and they have the capacity to be able to give a discount, that they'll do that for you, right? So that's just some people's angle on how they go about shopping for services or products or whatever the case may be. And you just need to be able to stand firm. And one of the big keys to overcoming a price objection is making sense of your service, right? Getting the customer to see why it is that you charge more than other people when they're sitting there and saying, hey, but Louis, I just talked to this company and that company and they're only charging this, right? If you're able to come back to that customer and let that customer know, look, I completely understand. However, when shopping for movers, you're really not comparing apples to apples. And what I mean by that is, you can go, if you're shopping a TV, and you could go check out Best Buy and see what the price is there. You can go check out Walmart, see what the price is there. And whichever one has the cheaper TV, you buy it there, right? However, when you are shopping for, sorry about that, something drove by, it distracted me. When you are shopping for movers, right, you are not comparing apples to apples. And what I mean by that is, moving is a service. And in order for us to send you highly trained professional movers who are trained not only to come out there and not damage your furniture and protect it with care, but make the whole process smoother, we need to pay them a little bit more. There's a big difference between that and somebody else who just sends out, some people that can lift stuff and move stuff. Remember, you're putting your life's possessions in this truck, and we want to make sure that we have professionals coming out there to make this smooth, there's no damage. So if you really look at it and you wanted to save a few bucks by going with the cheaper mover, and they come out there and they damage everything, wouldn't you wish that you spent a few more dollars and went with us for that smooth process? You know, the point is, you've got to be able to justify your price, make sense of why it is you charge more, right? Because the customer just sees it as moving company, right? Their minds are just trained the same way they would shop for a TV or the same way they would shop for a car to say, you know, here's the price, but not all movers are equal. You know this, I know this, and if you provide quality service, you need to make sure that your customer knows this, right? Again, go to bookmoremoves.com, check out the free web class. I teach you exactly the steps of what you need to say in your script, how to follow up, how to overcome price objections, how to assume the sale, roll right into the reservation, and start booking more high-paying moves. There is a lot of, got a little road closure up here. Hope everybody's okay. I'll be making a U-turn here. There are a lot of reasons and there's a lot of excuses on why, you know, somebody can't raise their prices or charge more. And if you're, you know, somehow feeling like you don't deserve to get higher prices, then that must mean that you don't do a good job, right? But if you're like, Lewis, I do a good job, but I've only been in business for a year. Who am I to charge more money? How could I charge just as much as the big guys? You know how? Because the customer doesn't know the difference between you and the big guys. The customer doesn't know the difference on, you know, where your office is located, or if you even have an office at all. Maybe you're working out of a truck rental yard like I did when I started, right? You don't have to let your small business make you small-minded. If you provide good service, you need to get paid for that good service. It's really as simple as that, right? But what's insane is to, you know, go out there every day, and we know this is not an easy business, right? Moving business is not easy, okay? It's very rewarding, it's very lucrative, but it's not easy. And to go out there every day and work hard and send your movers out there for, you know, money that's not allowing you to see the profits that you should see, because at the end of the day, your business is really a means of providing, you know, financial freedom for you and your family. And if it's not doing that, things need to be adjusted. Things need to be tweaked. And raising your price is not the only thing, but it's a really good start. And so I'm just trying to encourage you today in this, you know, summertime moving season period, when it's easier to do this, to raise your rates, right? To charge more. And I want to show you exactly how to do that. Make sure you go to bookmoremoves.com. Check out the free web class. All the information you need is there. But in the meantime, see where you could raise your rates. Take out your calendar. Look at certain dates and see where you're already starting to book up. If you're already starting to book up weeks out, you could raise your rate now. And if you get really close and you're not getting to capacity, you can always lower your rates again. All right? The first step is to raise prices. And I know that it could be scary if you haven't done it before, or I know you may have done it once and you're like, man, how high could I go? You can go pretty high, right? Just keep pushing the envelope. You want to get paid what you're worth. You want to make sure that all the work you do on a daily basis is profitable. All right, I hope this was helpful. Make sure you go to bookmoremoves.com. Watch that free web class. It's not going to be up long. And listen, go out there every day, profit in your business, thrive in your life. I'll see you later.
Hey, my friend, before you go, you've got to hurry and watch these next few videos over here. They will absolutely help you take your moving company to the next level. Go watch them now, and I'll see you over there.